Welcome to Toffee TV. We're joined by Freddie from the Ugly Inside Southampton fan channel. We're talking about this weekend's game. But before we do, obviously, the big elephant in the room is Ronald Koeman, his return to Southampton. Just tell us in the summer. I mean, what was that like when he left the club? And has that anger dissipated from you and your fellow fans?
I think we've all simmered down now since the summer. I think we felt quite a bit bitter in the manner that he left, because in the weeks and months before he left us, he was asked multiple times by journalists to say, "Oh, is your future at Southampton?" He said, "Yes, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere." A few weeks later down the line, as soon as that final whistle was blown after against Crystal Palace, we've got Europa League qualification, 2 or 3 weeks for speculation. He's not going anywhere, but until the Twitter starts to explode, he said, "Oh yeah, he's on his way to Everton. He's arriving at Goodison Park, but in fact, he signed it in his villa in Spain, holding up an Everton shirt." So obviously, we're a bit bitter about the way and the manner that he left us. But we've come to expect it as Southampton supporters. Perhaps we got a little bit too attached to him because of the success that he gave us on the pitch, getting us 7th and then 6th in the league, and then obviously into Europa League. We would have liked him to have led us out to Europe this season, but we've done what we do every single time that a manager and players leave us. We've marched on, we've replaced him quite adequately, and perhaps even replaced him with a better manager.
We'll wait and see on that one. I mean, as you said, then it did happen sort of in the worst way for a Southampton fan. I mean, it's taught me, to just not get too attached to him. We got very attached to our last manager, and then when it all falls apart, makes it feel even worse. And it's sort of, for me, Koeman is a very professional man, and he's trying to climb the tree and make do what he can. And he obviously coming to Everton, the job was sold to him in a way that he was going to have lots of control and lots of money as well, I suppose. So from that point of view, I can understand why he went for it. But he did an interview last week with the BBC where in the interview, Everton really never came into it, and he basically blamed Southampton for not sort of clarifying his future. So again, there you go. It doesn't exactly, as a fan of the club he manages, that doesn't exactly fill you with much confidence for the fellow, or make you feel all warm and cosy towards him. So for me, it is what it is. He's a professional, and I'll learn from the experience you guys have had. But as you say, your new man's come in, another turbulent summer for you. How has that gone on? How has the differences been since you brought the new man in?
I think initially at the start of the season, we were all a bit sceptical because he brought in a brand new system, which none of us had really heard of, and none of us really had done too much research, apart from a few people here and there. But the system has changed dramatically since Koeman left. He played with quite a wide 4-2-3-1 with Mane exploiting the players on the wings. But since Claude Puel's come in, it's a 4-4-2 narrow diamond. And he's actually converted some wide players into forwards, such as Nathan Redmond. He was actually brought in before Claude Puel, which was a Southampton transfer, if you like, in line with the club philosophy. But we all knew Nathan Redmond was a winger, but he's since converted him into a forward, playing off sort of Charlie Austin, Shane Long, Jay Rodriguez, those types of players. And I think we've kind of come round to his system now, come to expect 2 different squads as well. I think we've got strength and depth to compete in all 4 competitions. It's going to be very tough to us to obviously replicate our success from last season with the new manager, new players, new system, and everything else. But we've now got a strong squad that can compete on 4 levels. With 2 squads in particular, we've got a Cup squad and a Premier League squad. So the players that perhaps didn't play in Europa League on Thursday night, they will play on Sunday night.
So has that transition gone well then between obviously the Europa League and the Premier League? Because obviously a lot of clubs suffer with that, with the Thursday and then the Sundays. Have you found it okay?
So. We've come off the back of some little bit disappointing results, but I mean we've obviously came off the back, or actually a prime example, last week or 2 weeks ago, historic win at home against Inter Milan, 2-1 from behind, come back, and then we go and lose to Hull. Unbelievable. two different types of performances there, and it's been typical of our season this season as well. We've controlled games. That's the type of football that Claude Puel plays, and it's a possession type game. So what I expect on Sunday is to us to hold on to the ball, have the most possession, but also Claude Puel can adapt to the opponent, because last week we saw pretty much 90% of the game 10 men in our own half. So we know how to soak up the pressure in that respect, but in that respect as well, that we know how to adapt to the opponent.
Yeah, I mean, the Europa, I suppose for as you say, you beat Inter Milan. I suppose such a big night, such a big win, and obviously going to Hull, that's going to be a bit of a letdown for some of them players. So I suppose psychologically that can affect the players as well. Who's been your standout players this season? Because obviously Charlie Austin's been in brilliant form up front, and a lot of people thought, when you bought him, that they were worried about it. His injury problems, certainly his knees and stuff. I mean, yeah, obviously he's been the standout, but is anyone else that has gone unnoticed?
Yeah, well, like you said, Charlie Austin has been our standout player on paper. He's our top scorer. But for me, there are two players in particular that have been outstanding this season, and a player that is drawing all of the headlines at the moment is Virgil van Dijk. Amazing player, easily worth 50 million in this market. We bought him in for 12.5, 13 million 18 months ago, and he's since literally gone on to be perhaps it's a bit too early to say the word legend, but he's really winning over the fans at the moment, putting in match winning displays. He has the ability to take on players, play up front for the last 5-10 minutes when we're lumping it long, that type of thing. But he's brave. He takes on players. He puts his foot and his head in where it hurts, and he can also lead the team when Jose Fonte hasn't been captain for the cup games and Europa games. Virgil has quite seamlessly and quite easily stepped into the captain's armband. But another player that also steps out and has won back-to-back Player of the Month awards from our fans is Oriol Romeu. Highly underrated in the Premier League, and he's so important for us because he's the glue that keeps the team together at the moment. Again, a player very brave in respects to Virgil van Dijk, where he tackles, where it hurts, puts his head and puts his feet in. He turns on the ball pretty well. He's got a nice touch. And he's the player that kind of breaks up the play before it even gets to the likes of Jose Fonte and Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Van Dijk. I'm gutted, to be honest, that we never went for him when he was leaving Celtic. There was lots of rumours, but you got in there and got it done. And yeah, it's been excellent this season. He seems a real leader as well, which is what I think a lot of teams are lacking in the Premier League. So he's been outstanding. I mean, how do you feel about going into this game? Obviously, we were recording this before your Thursday night Europa League game. And how do you feel about this game? You've already, I think, got a couple of big injuries as well. That players ruled out. So how are you feeling ahead of Sunday's game? Yeah,
like you said, a couple of injuries have hampered our recent weeks. We've had Shane Long only recently returned to us against Liverpool last week. But I think the big player in particular that might be missing on Sunday is Dusan Tadic. He's the playmaker. He's the player that makes things happen, and he's the player that puts the ball forwards for the likes of Nathan Redmond, Shane Long, Charlie Austin to run onto. But I'm feeling quietly optimistic. But in that respect, our form in the league hasn't been the best in the last few weeks. Obviously, picking up a great point, you've got to be said against the league leaders in Liverpool at the time. Obviously, last week, and then obviously the disappointing results to Chelsea and obviously Hull as well, like we said just a second ago. I think the displays at home have been quite important for us because that's where we picked up most of our points. We haven't been the best on the road, so I think it's important for us to pick up points and win games at home. And I think it's going to be a sellout on Sunday as well, so I'm looking forward to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it should be quite a good game. Obviously, Southampton fans are going to give Ronald Koeman a lot of stick. I'm not sure he'll be that bothered. He doesn't seem that kind of person, does he? To even care less. But so prediction from you for the game on Sunday?
I think it's going to be a tight game, and I think probably Lukaku or perhaps even Balassi might score for you boys. But I'm predicting home win. I'll go for 2-1.
Good to be confident, good to be optimistic, even if coming on our channel saying these things, it'll go down with our fans. I'm thinking it's gonna be a close game, but I can imagine goals as well, if those things work together. And I'm going to go for a 2-2. So big thanks to Freddie from the Ugly Inside for coming on to Toffee TV. Make sure to like this. Make sure to share this video. If you like Freddie, go over and go and subscribe to his channel as well. Just to hear them. Go back to the beginning of the season, listen to all that bit of videos about Koemans. I'm sure we'll love it. Nice one for joining us. I'll see you later on Toffee TV.
Cheers.